No. Jay's the shake of his head. He just kind of was just like looking down, like, wow. You know, like
You
when
know-
you lose in the last minute, like, damn, guys.
You know what we should do? We should do like inflammatory stuff like that. But when people come on, we should just continue our normal intelligent level of conversation. Like I should wear a shirt that literally says "Crypto Boy for Life," 0 to 1,000,000 in 2 weeks.
Yeah.
Sailor is God. You know, things like that. But talk completely normal the whole time. You know,
The shirt that we should all have on with serious faces is the one that says infinity. What is it? Yeah, infinity divided by 21 million. It's infinity divided by 21M. I don't know if you guys have seen that. It's so rich. It is the most maxi shirt I've ever seen.
Yo, Victor, what's up, buddy?
That's pretty funny. Good morning.
40 seconds in, Victor's been waiting. He woke up this morning. He's like, Tuesday, Crypto Bros.
He's like, I was waiting for y'all. All right, gentlemen. It's been a week. I'm dialing in from Tacoma, Washington. Y'all are in your normal places, but with Jay's pedophile background, he could be in a van next to Not really. I'm just kidding. You've got this screen behind you that's like this ambiguous screen, and like I think you said between two ferns. I can't get this image out of my head. Like I just picture him pulling it down. Like there's a zoo behind him or something weird, you know.
You know, what was that thing? Tuesdays with Maury. It's like Tuesdays with Jay, and he's just like in the Smithsonian Museum, just posted up in the middle, but like in a box that's completely soundproof.
But I didn't mean pedophile. Like if you were in a van, I just picture you becoming nomadic living, but like there's people at a beach like walking by and seeing this weird screen. So what's in the news today? What are we talking about? What do we need to be talking about? Or what struck you this week from not crypto?
I want to share something which is really cool. And since Victor's on, I'll give him a huge shout out.
Yeah.
Victor ran a Twitter space the other day, and it was really cool because it was all in Spanish. And was a look into a completely different part of crypto. Because even when you just put crypto or NFTs or Web3, and a lot of the conversation we were having was around NFTs and Ethereum and what Ethereum could do, and I was talking about the ERC. I think it's I'm going to butcher it. Maybe 4790, whatever. The new one that's going to allow people to be able to rent
4920
and
whatever. Yeah,
I forget, but it's the one that you're going to be able to. I'm going to be able to own it, and I'm going to be able to say, all right, you know what? I own a Bored Ape Yacht Club. Grant, if you want to go to the IRL party tomorrow, send me 10 ETH. And then you get to go, but the contract is only set up for 24 hours. So Victor had that up, and it was really cool. Anyways, it was just a really cool conversation.
Yeah.
And people from other parts of the world, and just also when
non-Anglo parts of the world.
Yeah, not Anglophone parts of the world. And I think when you just put this conversation in a different language, because Spanish can be exceedingly roundabout. And what I mean to say is, if I want to be like, Grant, do you want to go eat lunch? I got you. That's what I'd say. But in Spanish, it may take me 3 minutes to get to that same thing. And that's just like the way the language is. It's why telenovelas are so long. Like the whole thing is like, he cheated on you. It's all good. Like, let's move on. But anyways, it was very cool to hear NFTs, Web3 through.
Is there a replay
Spanish.
that maybe after the show or at some point in the show, we could just drop a link on a replay to show love to Victor for that? Because that's a huge...
Yeah.
Victor,
Victor, drop the replay.
Drop the Twitter space replay. I think that'd be really cool.
It should be there for 7 days after, yeah.
Okay, should be there for 7 days. So Victor, if you're hearing this, anyways, big shout out. He did a great job. Also emceeing, bringing people on, bringing people off. I've never hosted a Twitter space, but I do believe that there's a certain way, a modus operandi that one should do it. And I just thought Victor did a great job. So shout out to you, Victor.
Yeah, big time. And when we started this concept, your whole concept was Twitter space. And, we've done the lives and we like the lives. And we're currently, I believe, live somewhere on Twitter right now, but it's not a Twitter space, and I'd like to see that because I think that there's a whole other level of interactivity that I think we'd really enjoy as we curate the conversation a bit more, for sure. That's good. What was your biggest takeaway from this space with Victor? Any particular nuggets? Any alpha? Do you have alpha?
By the way, this Christmas, to go along with the Not Crypto Bros calendar, we will have alpha cookies, so you can get your alpha every day.
Yeah, dude. 21 days.
I think my takeaway was that there was a woman on there, Liliana, who is going to be presenting at this fashion festival down in Colombia, which is going on.
Colombia Moda.
Yep, Colombia Moda, which is going on for the next couple of days. And what I took away was Liliana is going to be going down there, and I think she's the only person who's going to be presenting or be an exhibitor. Oh, sweet. Victor just left the Twitter link to that conversation, so we'll definitely put that in the show notes. Thanks so much, Victor. But what I got from that was she's going to this festival, this fashion festival in Colombia. And Colombia is a really cool country for a bunch of different reasons, but it's geographically perfectly in the heart of Latin America.
Yes.
It's equidistant between Mexico and Argentina. It's just like right there. It's one of the only countries. Period. Yeah, it's the only country in South America that has access to the Atlantic and the Pacific. So it's a very fun and cool place as far as the geography. So it's kind of the heart. And to know that, I think she and Victor, maybe you can hop in the chat. I believe she is the sole presenter at this entire fashion show that's going to be doing something fidgetally, or doing something in VR or AR. So that just kind of shows you how early it is. And every conversation that I ever have with anyone in Latin America around any blockchain, crypto, NFTs, is just that, like, it's almost where maybe the conversation was in the United States, at least in these communities, in 2017, 2018. Like, it's just happening. Like, when 2017 came around, that bull market came around, it really pulled people into the conversation because they started getting some money. You come for the money and you might stay for the money. And I think that kind of happened in this last bull run where Latin America maybe got a little bit more pulled in, but that's what I took away. We're still so freaking early.
At what point are we not early? Like, I agree, but you guys and I know that these phrases are getting, are wearing people down, even though, like, I 100% agree. Especially because we haven't even hit a bull run. We've just been baselining at the bottom of the Mariana Trench right now. We haven't even fell off the Mariana Trench yet, but at what point are we not allowed to say it anymore? Real question. I don't know.
Jay, sure. what's your metric on that?
When we cannot say it anymore? I don't know. When something really evil happens.
Evil?
When we get the Mark Zuckerberg of Web3 or something like that. I don't know.
Hey, but we didn't know
that Mac is evil, but Mac is my guy. Yeah, but you know what I'm saying?
He backpedals to the billionaire.
He
because we're besties, right?
Yeah, MZ's my boy. Love WhatsApp.
Mac is my guy, yo. What up, Davian, man? Get out of here.
That's mass adoption. And I agree. And I think this is what you're getting at, Jay. Like, maybe not evil, but mass adoption. And for everyone involved in crypto, we kind of low-key correlate mass adoption to evil. But that's also about when our stuff starts getting valuable. So it's like a catch-22,
I think I think when the phrases that we use today are no longer existent, when we don't use Web3, that's just the internet. When NFTs no longer exist, that's when I think we're there. Like the phrase NFT.
Yes.
And Davian says, once people begin to use Web3 services without even realizing that they're using them, which is exactly that. Mm-hmm. When you go to a concert right now, I go to Ticketmaster, my Ticketmaster app, which I want to break every time I look at it.
Yes.
And in the future, that will just be on chain because it will be an NFT, essentially. It will be tokenized. So I think in the future, when we're no longer using those terms, because I'm sure I was a little too young to understand the transition from Web 1 to Web 2, but I'm sure that there were a bunch of people at the time in Web 1. Maybe there weren't podcasts, but maybe there were radio shows, and maybe they were sitting around, smoking.
They were AIM chat spaces, snitch. I was there. We were AIM
you were there, and I just picture a bunch of people listening to Nirvana, just like smoking pot and like, yo, when Web 2 hits,
because you're describing it, yeah.
Bro, I'm gonna start a blog, man. People are like, whoa, you're gonna own that, like that's. Gonna
what's funny about that is we also back then we also touted anonymity, and we gave it up. And so this is going to sound, you guys can totally roast me on this. Like, I'm giving the interwebs permission to roast me on this. When AIM first came out and I got my first CD with 100 full hours for the month, And it said on the CD 100 hours. I didn't know in 2 years they'd be like, please keep using us. Here's 10,000 hours. They had no clue. But I was like, holy shit, I'm never going to use 100 hours of interwebs. But I did. And I read it. I was reading a book about these influencers who were influencing the world with their emails. And so I was like, okay, I'm going to start an AIM name, and it's going to be so secret no one's going to know. So sodium pentothal is the truth drug. I don't know if you know that. When you want someone to start telling the truth, you inject them with sodium pentothal. So I started a unhackable cryptographic email address called NA, the symbols for sodium, NA pentothal at AOL.com. And no one knows me, and I started these very inflammatory, while I was listening to Nirvana, very inflammatory emails. And like I was 1 week in, and I was like, I'm gonna influence the world, anonymity. And my friend from high school was like, Grant, you got to quit writing these emails. I was like, he's like, it's so obviously you, bro. And I was like, oh, how do you have my email? I gave up anonymity right away. I was like, this is stupid. But it does correlate that we were into anonymity back then. And it's funny that when these technologies come along, this interest comes up again. If I just want to do and say and express myself. I wanted to interject there too about tickets. You mentioned Ticketmaster. I think I've mentioned to both of you that the founder of Relic Tickets, NFT Tickets, is in our co-working space in Lakeland, Florida. They did the ticketing for South by Southwest, and no one knew it was an NFT until they got there and they're like, oh shit, this is NFTs. It's happening. And I asked him last week, we were in the kitchen space. I said, hey man, when are we going to stop using the term NFT? And he was exasperated. He said, I wish last week. He said, go ahead.
I just want to, people are already not using it when they do their pitches. They're already not saying it. They're using.
What are they saying?
Digital assets.
Companies
doing
are launching and just not saying it at all. You just assume that it's an NFT and it actually isn't on the back end.
Interesting. Yeah, I mean, I guess so. I guess Davian or you guys are right. I think it's just when we assume. Like, I don't go around and like, what are terms we don't use that we used in Web 1 and Web 2?
www. HTML.
There you go. That's a good example.
Yeah.
Tell me your www domain. You know, grantnadu.com. Well, actually, you know what's funny about that? I've even begun to drop the .com. I've begun to tell people, hey, just Google me, Grant Sparks. Just Google me, Grant Sparks. It'll come up. Mm-hmm. Just sell the product, exclude NFT, help speed up mass adoption. You know what's interesting about this from Davian? This requires your shit to actually have value. This is the filter. Can you sell the thing without selling the hype of Web3 or NFT? Have you shaped something of value? You know, what's the most valuable projects you guys know that fall into the category of NFT, but you could sell without using NFT and it's not tickets?
Well, that's tough because I think tickets are access. And I think the thing that I could sell to somebody is, okay, you like DJ Khaled, you like Steph Curry. If you buy this 1 of 10,000 VIP pass, you can hang out with them on yachts. What does that sound like? How much is that worth to you? Yeah. All right, you're a multimillionaire. Okay, that's worth 500,000. Great, let me get that for you. I'll just transfer into ETH and go buy the cheapest Bored Ape Yacht Club while I'm sweeping floors. I think access is really access to IRL events. I was in a conversation earlier with some guys from Collabs, and actually I need to do a shout out during the live stream about them. But I think access is key. And so access, I mean, most of our life is access, right? Like your diploma is access. Your birth certificate is access, right? My passports are access. When I'm on this call, it's access. So without saying tickets, I think that's really tough. But I mean, I think I could sell Bored Ape Yacht Club to someone who's a big Steph Curry fan who has, you know, where money isn't an option. Be like, yeah, you want to hang out with Steph? You have no other way to meet him. And you want to do it in a way where you're not just like paying to have his time. Well, you can buy into this community and you're going to get access to a bunch of other people.
Yeah. Well, like I think of that Gary Vee project where they did the restaurant. I think Gary Vee was involved in that. They brought these restaurants together and you bought the NFT, and the NFT was exclusive access to these restaurants.
Got it.
So you can sell that without talking about the NFT, right? Just you get exclusive access to this 5-star restaurant.
Well, and the tough thing for me to get my head around with those sorts of, I didn't know about the Gary Vee one, but I had heard of another one. The tough thing for me to get my head around that is, hang on, they might just be right by finding Ofu.
Yeah,
they might just be right by finding a synonym. My gallerist friend got turned off a great deal just by hearing the word NFT.
I think NFT is a super trigger to artists. I have a friend, and then I'll read Davian's comment here. I have a friend who is a muralist in Boston. She's amazing. You know, she'll be up on a lift and doing the whole thing. You know, nothing intimidates her as far as like the size of a building and, you know, how much she's going to have to do.
That's so cool.
She's a badass. And I remember I was hanging out with her friends. This is in the summer of 2021. And we had to be outside, and I was helping them do a mural or something. I was like watching them do something because they were in my town. And I brought up, her name's Amanda. Amanda, shout out. I'm gonna say your name. And Amanda was like, "Oh yeah, he does a podcast and he focuses on crypto." And as soon as I said that, one of the dudes came at me really hard.
Really?
Like, yeah, crypto's a Ponzi scheme. It's all these things. And I'm like, oh, so you guys as artists, you guys haven't looked into, you know, maybe the potential value of understanding and then employing NFTs with your work. And it was like saying the most triggering thing I could say to a group of people.
Some gender claim or something, like wrong pronouns or something, you know?
No, it was beyond. It was beyond. Wow. It was like, it was mixing up an Aussie and a Kiwi. You know, it was bad. It was bad. So Amanda got really quiet. Her friend got really quiet. And this dude who I will not call out started just yelling at me. Like, that's such trash. You're destroying our art. You're taking our IP. This is not why we do this. These are just fake pictures. These people are whatever. Now, this dude's probably mid-50s. But anyways, it was the most triggering thing I could have said to this human being without knowing anything else about him. Just 3 letters. So I totally want to say that I think the gallerist, I get that. Now, if it's okay, I'll read Davian's comment. Yeah. NFTs should only be an extension of what somebody is already doing. This includes services, products, and business, recipes, singing lessons, etc. And I'll let either of you guys respond to that because I completely agree.
No, 100%.
I mean, I agree. I have a challenge with the business model, but go ahead with your thought first, Jay.
Yeah, it really shouldn't be something that stands on its own. You know, like nobody has a website and the whole company is just the website. You got a service, you got a product. There's something else, and the website is like the vehicle that allows people to experience it. I think it's the same thing, right? The NFT is sort of a vehicle that allows you to experience whatever the big deal is behind what you're selling.
Yeah, and so here's my challenge with the business model, which is why access makes sense, but access only makes sense to like pop-up or limited events, which Gary Vee's might have been a pop-up event. By that, I mean this. At its core, in theory, the largest chunk of money to the creator, happens upon initial sale. There is a dream of smart contracts where liquidity provides ongoing commissions, 1% here, 2% here. And in the case of Bored Apes, this is a huge income model. So they want to create liquidity, but as liquidity grows stagnant, they're like, we have no income stream now. Now we might be sitting on a treasure chest, and that's great. Or maybe we're still sitting, maybe we still hold bags of our own creation still that we could turn over on the marketplace to continue to put actual usable currency for hard services to grow, to actually buy the Bored Ape actual yacht or the Bored Ape Airbnb. I still need that $500K for that apartment in New York City that I can give people access to. So in terms of like, there's either a high velocity, like the velocity of currency, and that high velocity turns over the commission, which creates this income stream. That's a reliable business model. Or you're an elite brand and you're selling for, 100 ETH each, and that really works for you. But what if you're neither? You have no income. And so the business model of doing pop-ups, you got to have a huge brand. But I think this is actually a healthy filter for what Davian and these people are talking about. It's got to be a hard value. Experiences might be it, especially if you've already got a brand, but Steph Curry has the Steph Curry brand. So the impetus circles back to marketing. There's almost nothing. There's almost no value here other than do you have platform? Ofu says, I also think artists were already seasoned before the NFT boom. Should be in the category, Davey and Graham. Okay, so he's just dialoguing with Davian. And Davey and Davian, forgive me if I'm mispronouncing. Do one of you two gentlemen know how to properly pronounce his name?
Jay.
I met him this week, and I do not remember how it was.
Okay, so forgive us.
Jay, if you met him this week, you guys are like Web3 high school buds.
Web3 high school besties.
Now I've heard both of them. I've heard both of them now, and I can't remember which one it is. They both sound good. But
Yeah,
he was,
signed each other's
super
yearbooks.
cool. It was like so knowledgeable about the space. We had this like hour-and-a-half long conversation about
Really?
Web3 is really about identity.
I agree.
He's got
I agree.
this super cool idea. Davey.
Davey in.
I feel like Wally, Davey in.
He probably, if someone is as experienced as you're describing is already operating the space and watching us, Kurt Vonnegut's got a great quote. Someone said, how do you write so well? He said, write so well, I feel like a fat-fingered kindergartner with crayons, right? Like, and it's Kurt Vonnegut, right? Like, when I see people who are credentialed in this, like Davey in, and like we're talking about this stuff, I feel so bad for him. It's got to be grueling for him. Like, get to the chase already, man. Because we're like, I wonder what this is about. But I agree with this comment about identity. Unpack that a little bit more, Jay. Like, what were some of the nuggets from that?
So he had this super cool idea for, and I hope I'm not giving it away. Well, like it still sticks with me. Like this idea for a video where it's like you're showing that I'm taking all of these different pieces of me and that is what becomes Web3. And so like the way that I remember it in my mind, and this might not have been the way that he described it, but like say like it's a dude super tattooed, and he's got like a tattoo of his mom and a tattoo of his friend that died, and he's taking them off of his body and putting them into his phone, and like they're becoming NFTs. And so these pieces of his body and of his life become his identity in Web3.
So in essence, it's simply, at its most basic level, like if we get off of this term web, I actually think Web 1, Web 2, Web 3 are misnomers. Because as a web designer, we've been operating in Web 3 already since social media took off in 2010, 2011. We've been referring to Web 3 since 2010, but in a different context. Web 1.0 was like listservs, like Yahoo list service. And like to browse the web, you'd go, it's like the yellow pages, but just on Yahoo, and you'd have to search. Web 2.0 was the aggregation of content generated and searchable, like Google, like the Google era. And Web 3.0 was social media, and that was user-generated content. And to call this Web 3, it's almost like there's these fancy, it's almost we started calling Web 3 because we had these fancy ideals about where it was going. And then we're realizing as the sauce simmers down, it really is what you're talking about, Jay, like this further digitization of identity. Mm-hmm. Like, well, I'm going to have my driver's license, and this is the tech stack for that. I'm going to have my tickets. Like, you go to Ticketmaster. You mentioned Ticketmaster. I hated it, but I'm up in the Pacific Northwest, and I grew up around. Victor's right. AOL, yeah. Web 0. Here, have a disc. Here's your 10 hours. Oh, shit. What am I going to do with 10 hours? What am I going to do with 10 hours? I'm going to spend 10 fucking hours on the web today. He's right, dude. That's so.
Grant, I'm assuming you still carry around that disc. I'm assuming that's how you're connecting right now.
Like what's the rapper?
Flavor Flav.
Yeah, Flavor Flav.
Oh my gosh, he didn't even say it. You already knew what it was. How
because he was making connected? Like the clock, and I just picture Grant in Florida. He's got like trill music going. He's got his AOL disc.
What's going on?
Grant Sparks is already his stage name.
I'm doing it. That's hilarious. But he's right. I mean, he's right. Absolutely. And in the phone line, that is so fun. Yeah, the noise the plug would make, totally. And so I don't actually think we're in Web 3. In fact, if anything, I think just like NFTs, we're going to quit referring to it. We'll call it crypto. But to me, it's an extension of the digitization that went into the cloud. It's making the cloud Jarrett used this term last time. It's making the cloud interoperable. And Jay, that's actually what you're talking about. My pieces of identity, I'm just connecting the shit out of it and in control of it. Mm-hmm. I think that's the hope that we have for this wave.
I think like some of the conversation was around like, you see how in like social media on Facebook, like it's all about divisions. Like, you know, I'm liberal, you're conservative, and we're all separated in that way. In Web3, I think we get the opportunity to not have to all live together in the same social media space where we're always at each other's throat. We have our own independent communities. So I can be in my liberal community and never have to encounter conservative views. And that's cool, you know?
Yeah.
And I think that might be one of the things that eventually comes out of this.
Well, what's up, Ken? Go ahead, Jarrett. What do you got?
Yeah, I just wanted to say what's up, Ken. Ken and I chatted the other day for a while, and Ken's just a fascinating guy. Hopefully he'll be on the pod, and he definitely wants to come on here, not Crypto Bros. I also assume that Davian wants to come on, and everyone else who's left a comment here. Victor, obviously our OG fanboy.
He's the first, just honorary OG.
Honorary OG.
He'll get a Flavor Flav disc.
The thing about oh my god, the thing the thing that Jay's talking about in identity, I think is really, really true, because I think about myself and I try to think about, and I was thinking about this the other day. I was like, I don't have one person on this planet that's into everything that I'm into. It just like doesn't happen, right? Like I am a pescatarian, right?
Yeah.
I know very few people that fill that. I exclusively listen to hip hop and salsa. Also very few people that are into that. I like to travel to Latin America and work from home. Very few people. I'm into soccer. Very few people. And there's not one person that fulfills all of these, right?
Yes.
And so I think social media kind of gave us this where you can drop in a community and do this, but Web3 is now allowing me to invest into these communities and ideally then get something back. Because like being in a Facebook group long time,
what's up, Randy?
You know, it is what it is. I feel like I'm missing a lot in the chat here.
No, you're not. You're good. Keep going because you got good stuff.
No. Anyways, that's just my point. I think Web3 is finally allowing me to like spread my wings and actually invest. Not just like be in a chat room for 5 years, but be like, I'm in this chat room for 5 years, and now this group is going to come out with something tied to DeFi, or it's an NFT, or we're going to even just create our own blockchain to solve this issue that we perceive to be in the world. And then you can actually like invest into that. So anyways, that's where I'm excited with Web3, but I think it's very fascinating. Grant, and I'm going to push you to do an episode of this on your own podcast. You can come back on More Than Blockchain, or we can talk about here, but I want you to dive deeper into that, because I think being a web developer, and you've been saying Web3 since 2010, 2011, and then here come along all these people who fell into crypto in the last 16 months. Now they have Web3 tattooed on their lower back. I think it's a little intense. What? Yeah, they're just so excited. You know, they went on vacation.
People doing that?
Well, it's between hashtag Web3 and HODL. So
once we finally get together, the three of us, and meet in person, that's what we're doing. It's Web3, but it's the three of us.
We're not doing that. We're not doing that.
Why does it feel like Jay's the adult in the room?
What's up, Ravi? What's up, Randy? Yo, we're not doing that at all.
So I want to speak to that real quick, and several things, several of these comments. Let's tie this together as well as your thought. Ken mentions bridging Web 2 to Web 3. That might be true. Because we can talk a little bit about the tech there, but then Victor jumped in and said, will this happen again with MySpace? And then now they're just laughing at how crackheaded you guys are.
You guys.
Jay, if you're on the screen, you're pulled in now.
You're in by association.
So
this is what I'm calling. What you're getting at is an integration of investment with the tech and the identity you want. So the identity of you being like Mr. Boys and Bolos, Jarrett, as well as Web3, as well as you've got this like underdeveloped country thing going on too. Like you're nuanced, you're three-dimensional, and you want that represented in the world. There will be what we're calling Web3. We can agree that I'm not a fan of that term, but for simplicity's sake, there will be a social media platform where you own the content, and I think Tim Berners-Lee is really working on this right now, and has been through Brave Browser and other things, where you bring your cryptographic profile, and then the only thing that the algorithm is there for is to percolate stuff that you've already flagged as the stuff you want to see in this feed. Here's the trick, though. From a web developer standpoint, I pay attention to a lot of what's going on with the algorithms. Instagram is like developing from a photo heavy to a video heavy. We've touched on that a little bit. It's mimicking, aka cloning, just like it did with Snapchat. It's cloning what it sees TikTok doing. TikTok is known for having the most addictive algorithm that has ever existed. Like, I can't get enough. And it isn't always boys and bola. It isn't always my preferences. They are percolating new stuff. So my point is I think you're going to see an evolution. I think what crypto gives us, crypto identity gives us, is the ability, like Jay's saying, I'm tagged. Like what you're describing with the tattoo imagery, I love, because these are kind of like what I know from search engine optimization is like tagging. I've basically given it search engine tagging, but like the depth and breadth is controlled by me. And it's much more nuanced to who I am. The trick with this is that this is the problem. This is like, I guess the problem is a double-edged sword to a solution. People like us love the fact that we can't be treated like a binary number. Am I Democrat? Am I Republican? Am I a male? Am I a female? We can't be treated in binaries. We have to be treated for the three-dimensional person we are. But that is antagonistic to marketing incentives. So big business will fight this. So I think you're just going to see a division in the space. And when you use the word invest, Jarrett, I don't only think that's cool. I think that will be required, because the business model for Nuance, they're not getting paid by the advertisers because they can't treat you like a binary number. Is he pro-life or pro-choice? Well, they can't really tell. He's so nuanced now. And you want to be on a platform that gives you your nuanced relationships. You and I are going to have to pay for social media, I think. Anyways, that's kind of my take where it's going.
I would rather pay for social media.
I agree.
If I could choose the ads. I'd pay $5 a month if I could say, only show me this stuff. Like, I'm super into looking at, like, so I'm not a sneakerhead because I just want to put my money into crypto. But like, I love looking at these like $7,000 shoes. I'm like, wow, that's crazy. And then like looking at people, I'm not going to buy it. I'm glad you did. Glad that worked out. But anyways, I want to give a pause here because the comments have been blowing up, and I want to make sure that we're calling people out for their love here.
Yeah.
So Randy, Anita, how you doing? He didn't say Flava Flav. Love this, Jay. What's up, Ravi? Yes, Web3 tramp stamps. Maybe when we go down to Destin, Florida, we'll look into that. Great
Panama
info and
City
humor.
or bust.
We're trying. Exactly. Great info, guys. I don't know about great info, Mark, but we're trying. We're out here trying.
We're out here trying.
What I wanted to throw across you guys was Coinbase. I think I mentioned this in the last one. Coinbase recently fell out of the top 10 world exchanges. As far as volume.
Wait, say that sentence again?
Coinbase is no longer, as far as exchange.
Oh, I heard that.
In the top 10 exchanges in the world for cryptocurrency. And normally when you're on this side, if you're in the United States or North America, my feeling is when you think about exchanges, you think Coinbase, Binance, Binance, Coinbase, Coinbase, Binance, Binance, Coinbase. Those are the only two I really push people towards. I know that there's a bunch of others. I know there's Gemini, I know there's Kraken, I know there's KuCoin, I know there's just a holy host of others, but those are the two that I've used most and that I feel like the KYC is really easy, the UX is really easy. But Coinbase literally just fell out of the top 10. And I just read that their stock went down 17% in the last day because the SEC has said that the way that they put coins on their exchange or something about them being securities. So
I did see some of this.
Is in kind of a thing. And I know personally, I have some money on Coinbase. And so the question I have is, why am I not hanging up right now, getting out my drive, trying to get it off? Because we all know what came out about 2 or 3 months ago in those documents that showed that in the event of Coinbase being insolvent or bankrupt, they will take people's money that is held on the exchange. And so anyways, if you're listening to this and you have money on Coinbase, you may want to spend the time to go down the rabbit hole to look at the repercussions if it were to be insolvent. Now, I don't think it's going to be insolvent. Them and 8 others. Thank you, Ken. I don't think it's going to be insolvent because I think it will survive. I just think that they were, whatever. They may have liquidity issues. I think that there could be some hypothecation there with the Bitcoin. I also think that, I think that they, like many other people in the space, they got way too excited and they started to run before their body was ready for them. I mean, they laid off 1,100 to 1,200 people in the last 2 months. So my point being, I just wanted to put that out there because I think, and this is, for many people, that's how they got into crypto.
Wait, that Coinbase is how they got into
Coinbase,
crypto.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, so the tough thing here, I mean, is Coinbase, well, one question to ask oneself, and this is where we hit the, that was easy button, like that was easy. Like we need like a not financial advice button, right? so not financial advice, and Jared's summary was do your homework. And you know what? The Not Crypto Bros right here would love to hear your homework on this, because we'd love to share what you're finding. Victor says he left Coinbase in 2019. I still use Coinbase. Go ahead, Jared.
I left it last year. Yeah.
You guys don't even use it as an onboarding, like to buy stuff and move it.
I don't, because of the fees are so much higher than they are in Binance. But let me tell you this story, little saga. I have not been able to connect my bank account with Binance for over a month, and I have been dealing with them to try to
Binance.us.
Yeah, it's an absolute shit show. It's an absolute problem. Pardon my Spanish there, but I don't know what to do, because I want to get the money off. I want to get something off. I'm like, what are we doing here? And
what about your ledger? Can you connect to a ledger?
I could, but
or just send it to a ledger.
Yeah, but when you transfer, there's gonna be some tax implications. Whenever you change wallets, there's tax implications. Now, there's other things that you can do there, but the point being, I'm kind of I'm like, okay, I can't use Coinbase, can't use Binance. My point being, I want to go back to Victor's comment, because I thought it was the most salient one. Not that the other ones weren't salient, but it ticked something for me, which was when he mentioned MySpace. I remember using MySpace and being like, this is the greatest shit ever. I can go look at all these people. Oh my God, you love that band? That band sucks. Oh, but you like that band, Sum 41. I love that band.
Yeah.
And people had like their images, their photos, like your favorite color, your favorite stuffed animal, and thinking, how could this fail? How would this ever fail? Oh, it failed, right? So my point being, I wonder if we'll look back on this episode in 10 years and be like, wow, we thought Coinbase was on top of the world. Now they don't even exist. They were bought out. At least Sam Friedman came in with his fat stacks and was like, that's mine. Thank you. And now it's called Sambase. So I don't know. I'm just saying the winds of change come really, really quickly.
I don't think anything is technically too big to fail. And I don't think anyone should operate with that. John says,
MySpace
for life. Hey, listen, you don't believe in MySpace unless you know your top 8. Go. Know your top 8, son. So I don't think anything's too big to fail. And I think anyone, not only in crypto, I think anyone with any stake and their financial freedom, transcendent of crypto, should have liquidity plans at all times. So like I still use Coinbase because it is still the easiest to buy stacks and move it to Ledger. That's what I do. I buy stacks and move it to Ledger. Now you mentioned tax implications. Have either of you filed taxes for all of your transactions, not trades?
I thought you only had to file taxes. And once again, this is a complete U.S. conversation, because I know Jay isn't in the U.S. and you and I are talking about dealing with the IRS. Okay, those are 3 letters that trigger me, not NFT.
I'm triggered. Yeah.
Oh man,
I'm triggered.
I had somebody follow me on LinkedIn who works for the IRS. I'm not even American. It gave me just hot palpitations. What do they want? What did I do?
Jay, they're coming for all your assets, digital or otherwise.
Everyone at the IRS is, what is this show? Are they about crypto? No, look at the title. They have nothing to do with crypto. Not crypto, bro.
We're talking
it was deniability. You triggered the audience. Look at this.
Leisure for life. We're all triggered. Taxes are for life, though. So here's the thing. With the with the taxes, I think when you move wallets, then you have to then it's like because it could be a sale, and if there's sale, then there's profit. So, anyways, the Ledger
the case law hasn't happened yet. So the case. So what you're referring to about securities, the way I understood it, and we've got PhDs watching, like Dr. Randy. Please correct us if you realize we're just tools in the tool shed here. But like I spend a lot of time with my CPA. Like as an entrepreneur, I've got like several entities, and like my CPA is quickly becoming one of my best friends, and I appreciate that. As it comes to crypto, if you literally moved cash, a 10K from one American account to another American account, is it a taxable event? Technically, no, because it's not a security. The case law is all about, are these things securities? The things going on with Coinbase, you're absolutely right. They've been wrestling with Ripple forever. The SEC has been wrestling with Ripple forever, and it's on again, off again. Like a month ago, I would have sworn Ripple's winning. Last week, I would have sworn that Ripple's losing. Don't know. By being listed as an SEC, as a security. The SEC filed another lawsuit at Coinbase for the way they're listing. And the way I understood this was, it wasn't Coinbase. They were saying they were haphazardly listing tokens without deciding whether or not those tokens were securities or tokens or assets. And as such, these tanked. AMP was one of them, and I had just bought AMP the day before this announcement came out. But it's actually not tanking. Dr. Randy has some 2 cents. Was the movement due to a purchase? So this is great. So Jarrett, if you had, let's say, $1,000 in Bitcoin and you moved $1,000 in Bitcoin, were you using Bitcoin to purchase, wrapped Bitcoin? Well, if no, then it wasn't a purchase. And this is my understanding. The IRS doesn't even have terms yet for everything. So we know that it might be a function of a particular wallet to actually be using wrapped Bitcoin instead of Bitcoin. Technically, those are 2 separate assets. That was a purchase. But if it's Bitcoin to Bitcoin ledger, it's not a purchase.
Right, because you're just storing it, and you haven't. There's no profit that's been taken, and that's the thing that I'm just kind of. Anyways, what I was going to say to end the conversation about Binance and Coinbase was, I think I'm just going to use Swan Bitcoin. It's been super easy to set up. Everyone,
you mentioned Swan before.
All the Bitcoin maxis that I know, all they do is talk about it. I'm going to get my cold card, and when you get your cold card, it's super sweet because it's just kind of looks like a calculator. And I'm just going to use my old iPhone over here. But you have your cold card and it's totally offline because you put an SD card in. So it never even connects. It never even connects. So you put an SD card in, you can put a little dongle and then put your SD card in. You put the Bitcoin on that and then you put it in here, you connect and you download and then it's off. So it's never even connected. So, it's called the air gap system. That to me seems great. And when Bitcoin's worth $5 million a coin, you're going to want to take crazy precautions. So maybe one day on an episode, we can go through what we all do for security. But one of the things I will say, how we're talking about when we'll know that there's mass adoption of all of this tech that we're talking about. Yeah. We'll know that this show has finally reached the heights when all of a sudden IRS people are coming in the chat. And they're what does HODL mean?
Please define if HODL is a security.
Is HODL tied to Game of Thrones?
Let me tell you something. They are clueless, and that's okay. And I do think, though, at first I was like, well, this is them just trying to discover how to basically tax these things. But instead of, I wish they would come up with new terms, because from a sociological perspective, it is killing innovation. For them to go, no, you're either a security or you're an asset. And
it goes to the binary. It goes to the binary.
It goes to the binary. That's all they can think of.
Red Sox, Yankees. Mm-hmm. Red Sox, Yankees. There's
got
to be another option. Yeah, for sure.
Yeah, crypto security. And what we're doing individually, I think, is the big thing that John is getting at. What are we doing individually to, I guess, cover our asses? And to me, I have a ledger protocol. I dollar cost average every week. I'll be quick and then I'll let the guys go. I dollar cost average every week. And once a week, if the fee during a time when Ethereum fees are low and Bitcoins are always kind of generally the same, I'll move it to the ledger every 2 weeks. And am I still a little exposed every 2 weeks, every 14 days? A little bit, but then I kind of pull everything off of Coinbase onto my ledger or my staking wallets over at KuCoin. I am staking at KuCoin. And it's nominal. It's almost not enough to even incentivize it. So I take in on Coinbase. I migrate to KuCoin and then my ledger. And then I stake the shit out of everything. That's kind of what I do. Anybody else want to share kind of what your process is? Or you want to answer some of these questions?
I want to answer some of these questions first off, and then I want to just say Davian's point is hilarious. Everyone needs PFP avatars on LinkedIn to protect your identity from the IRS. They know Web3 is coming. I mean, I love that.
That's true. But honestly, they'll integrate with it, and they'll act. I believe there's already backdoors in Bitcoin. already for the NSA. I believe absolutely there are backdoors for trackability, and I have people in the intelligence community. Stuff's totally
for trackability. You don't need trackability. It's a public ledger.
Yeah, you can.
I know, but the argument of anonymity is what is the argument everyone's making. I believe the argument of anonymity is going away. And by trackability, I mean filing on the IRS so that, yes, your wallet, you know how this works. Your wallet's on an open ledger, but they don't necessarily know that that's Jarrett's wallet. They will when the stakes become big enough. They already do.
They can track the stuff that they can track right now, right? Like
that's what I'm saying.
Your address, your location.
That's right. That's exactly what I'm saying.
Your ISP, and they can figure that out if they really wanted to.
Yeah, and if you're buying through Coinbase, and they know, they hold the keys, right? So they know your wallet, and then they can totally just track that. Be like, okay, so let's say I buy 600 Bitcoin, and then I send them to another wallet, and then they're used to buy something illicit or whatever that the government's trying to figure out. They could totally figure that out. And this is why, shout out, in case you're here to say Bitcoin is only used by illicit activity, I think it's less than 1/10 of 1% of Bitcoin was recently proven to be tied to quote illicit activity. Really? And I throw air quotes because in some states in the United States, still buying pot is illicit activity, which I just find laughable. So Bitcoin is the worst thing to use, or many cryptos. Obviously, there's Monero and there's some other ones.
Zcash.
Zcash, yeah.
Zcash anonymous, yeah.
Zcash is Snowden's. Snowden was recently revealed as a major backer for Zcash, and the entire mission is complete anonymity. And he's one of the NSA guys that came out and said, no, whether it's social engineering, I don't know how familiar you are with hacking, but when social engineering, what Jay was talking about with IP addresses and purchases, that wallet address, gone. They know it. They can read your screen. So if I have this IP address and my screen's being connected to the internet at all, and my MetaMask wallet comes up, even just screen recording, they can just review it. Then you have AI that's operating in the background with big data that's just screen reading and categorizing and creating a cryptograph of who you are. Let's not pretend they don't have this technology. This is how, when it comes to, what do they call it? When they hack utilities and ransomware. When they do ransomware payments, these are big sums of money that put municipalities in danger. This is why the FBI is able to crack Bitcoin payments to ransomware so easily, because they're doing social engineering. And if they already have social engineering, they already are building backdoors. So I might be misusing the term backdoors, but they can absolutely get access. Isn't that the point of a BTC network, to not know? No. The point is not. It was anonymity. But I think they quickly realized that.
Yeah, it's not the case.
Yeah, I mean, I think that was the dream. And it was the dream. A cold card, John. But I want to shout out. We got a really nice compliment here from the doctor. Yeah, this show is reaching the heights. You guys need to buckle up. The show is 100. Perspective, humor, and facts.
Dude, Dr. Randy's. I'm a new fan of Dr. Randy. I'm gonna go look Dr. Randy up.
Yeah, Dr. Randy. Also, anyone, please, I'll shout this out at the end, but make sure you're following us on LinkedIn, Twitter, and YouTube. And I say that not just because the follows will be cool and we want to grow our community, but coming August, which literally is next week, we are going to start having guests. I think our first guest up is Nick Widmer. We need to align that.
Nick.
But no, sorry. It's Nick or Victor. Probably Victor. Yeah. Victor's still here. Victor, if you want on, you get first shot, obviously, the OG fan. But please follow along so that way when we have guests and you want to be guests, just DM us and just say, hey, I want to be a guest. I watched the show.
Yeah.
One of the things I was going to say about the cold card to me is it's not that expensive. I think it's only $85, and the ledger got expensive. When I got my ledger in 2017, it was like $50. I got a promotion.
Yeah, the new one's expensive.
The new one's expensive, and I don't know. Have you guys seen this thing called Arculus? I think it's Arculus, where you get
not Oculus,
not Oculus, not making me dizzy. $600.
Arculus. What are you talking about?
You talking about Molly? Jay, this is an adult show. I need you to buckle up. The doctor said you need to buckle up.
Yeah.
Okay.
Just go off on these tangents. How did we get to meth?
He said dizzy and $600. That's like,
come on, Jay. Grant's in the Pacific Northwest right now. He's in Vegas right now. That's why he's gambling all his ETH away. But actually, the question I had about, I want to go back to security, and I'll share too about what I'm trying to do. What do you do with your ledger? Because I actually am going to go to my bank and be like, hey, how much for a lockbox?
Safety deposit box, yeah.
Safety deposit, because that I can insure. Because say my house burns down, and I have my ledger inside, and it somehow burns to a crisp.
Yeah.
Then what do? I don't have ETH. I don't have a house. I barely have you guys. Like, what am I doing?
I know someone whose ledger isn't working. Like, it doesn't activate anymore. It's just sort of
your ledger doesn't activate.
Not mine. A friend of mine. It just stopped working one day.
Well, so first off, what I'm about to say, I believe, makes Ledger less secure than the Promise, more secure than anything else I'm using. And I want to bookmark something real quick that Jared said. I want to know more about Swan, because Swan is also an investment. Like, it's like when you shared Swan before, I looked it up. They have several investment vehicles also, right? Like a Vanguard 500, like an index fund. Is Swan an index fund, or is it literally just the cold card?
No. Cold card is a separate physical
product
device that you'd put the product that you'd put Bitcoin onto. Swan is an exchange, but it's only for Bitcoin. You can't buy Ethereum. You can't buy Cat Coin. You can't buy Dragon Coin. Whatever other coins people are trying to lose money on.
Yeah.
Just Bitcoin. It is maxi central. It might make you feel uncomfortable, Grant, and that's why I want you to go. Really get out of your comfort zone.
Well, no, because these people make great points. You mentioned a safety deposit box. What if the bank's closed? That's great. Do you have a hammer and a drill? What is? And then Dr. Randy says, "Hey, safety deposit box."
You need more than a hammer and a drill. My God.
No, just a hammer drill. Get in there. So here's my deal with Ledger, and I'd like to hear from your friend on why this doesn't work. If you have your seed phrase, you can activate a separate ledger device. Because it's an immutable ledger, you have your seed phrase, you buy another ledger, you enter in your seed phrase, and it has an app that goes with it. And the app is Ledger Live or something like this. And that Ledger Live technically connects you to your blockchain and your account. So if you have your seed phrase, you should be able to activate some other device. But that does also defeat the purpose. Is that actually then cold wallet? Technically, it's a cold wallet. It's completely unhackable. So to your point, Jared, if your house burns down, well, I hope that you either need to have your ledger with you at all times. My ledger is on my keychain at all times. What if your keys get stolen? Well, I've thought about it.
But carry your ledger with you?
Yeah. Yeah. How are they going to get it? How are they going to get access to it?
Now he's going to get kidnapped. Now he's going
Grant, I'm going to kidnap you. You're going to get kidnapped.
Here we go.
Sorry, Marissa.
Dr. Randy says Chase is never going to close. Get real. Ken says buy a fireproof Costco box. Can't you just get the key from isn't there like a universal key for those fireproof boxes?
I feel like there is.
Dr. Randy says gotta go. Dr. Randy, thank you for filling our ego sales. I appreciate you. We'll have you on the show. I'll have to go see what type of Dr. Randy is. She's awesome. And then someone just posted cold card. Very cool. I'll have to explore the cold card. That sounds very interesting to me. And a bit more.
The air gap is exciting. And I think that when we go into the next bull run, I don't think you should walk around Florida with you're just like, you have it like on a chain.
People get kidnapped, dude.
Yeah, dude. Like,
with my Flavor Flav necklace.
Yeah, why are you flexing, dude? Don't carry that thing around.
I carry on me, everything? My idea is this, I always carry my passport on me, right? Here we go. Not for more security. I always carry my passport. Go ahead.
Like, even when you're at home? What do you mean you carry your
passport? when you go to you take a shower, you just hold it out so that you get wet.
A lanyard.
Yeah. Got your waterproof lanyard looking like you come off a cruise?
No, so I moved a lot as a kid. And
sure.
I would get calls in the middle of the night and it's like, you have to move. And so I'm a minimalist. I don't have a lot. I have 6 of the same shirt, right? I am a complete minimalist, and I have a bag. I carry. It's my backpack with my laptop. It's my laptop bag, but I have a few key things I have in there no matter what. My universal money, my ledger, and my passport in case I have to leave at any moment. And I've never stopped doing that. Now there are inherent risks with that, but I feel less secure. If let's say I need to leave the country this minute. I do not have to go back to my apartment. I do not have to go back home. I literally just drive to the border. I've got my money. I've got my
You
passport.
got the go bag. You ready to go? Jeez, you're ready for like the apocalypse or something, dude.
Now, I'm not like that, though. I'm not a prepper. I went through that. Did you guys ever go
You're
through prep?
not a prepper? Why don't I play back the last 2 minutes, dude? You sound like you're not even James Bond, dude. You're Jason Bourne.
What country am I in?
Bourne.
Yeah. Hey, I'll tell you what. I am James Bond. John, if you can find me, I'll give you $1,000. If you come visit me where I'm at right now, and I'll give you a sneak peek. Take a screenshot, find where I'm at. Technically, if you replay the video, but if you show up here, I'll give you $1,000. I feel real bad if John like works downstairs. Maybe that's how he found me.
Just like Grant, I'll take that 1,000 and thanks. I know you have it on you because you walk around with your ledger.
I don't know what you guys don't like carry your important things on you.
No.
Why not?
You're supposed to leave that stuff at home.
So
why? You think your home is more secure?
No, I don't think your home is more secure. I just think that you don't want to have all your eggs in one basket.
It's true.
All of your eggs in one basket.
Like if I run up with a gun and I'm like, give me everything, you're going to give me your laptop, which is your business. You're going to give me your ledger, which is a lot of money. You're going to give me your passport, which is difficult to get back. You're going to give me all these things. I don't know. I've traveled too for a long time and I normally have 2 bags. And I normally, when I'm in the street, travel with nothing. I try to always be like, if you're going to take a knife or a gun, just
dangerous. Like
take whatever. I have nothing.
You told me that, like, well, I forget when we talked about it. Maybe it was today that you travel when you're in like a foreign country, you have nothing. If you're on the street, that sounds equally as dangerous to me.
No,
that's my point. I've been in Haiti. I'll tell you this happened. I lost my passport in Vietnam. So have you guys been to Southeast Asia at all?
Not yet.
No. I was in Vietnam and I had some interesting experiences. We took a little taxi late at night. It was late. They're like, let's go out. I'm like, okay, it's late. I'm a morning guy, but we're in Vietnam. When in Vietnam, let's go. So we heard about this nice French restaurant. And for those who don't know, Vietnam, before Americans bombed the shit out of it, was called French Indochina. It was a French colony. And they have this amazing Vietnamese fusion French food. It's phenomenal. And so we heard about this place. We went out and I took a cruise. So to get back on the cruise, you need your passport. So I got out, we had dinner, spent way too much money, had adventures like till late at night. I went to pay. Wallet gone, passport gone. I about lost my mind. And then I thought, I'm in Southeast Asia. It's crowded. Saigon was just absolutely crowded. It was nuts. I panicked. I went back and the taxi was where he left me. He had waited all night. And you bring all your Americanisms like people are stealing from you or screwing you. The first time I got robbed was in Honolulu. Now, I'd never been robbed anywhere else. I was with a Filipino crew and we got robbed. I was with like 9 other guys in Honolulu. But in Vietnam, this guy was waiting. And it showed me the character of people. He said, I'm sure you need this. I gave him all my money. I said, thank you so much. He was a phenomenal guy. But people would argue the lesson to learn is to not bring your passport places. My lesson to learn was never, ever go anywhere without my passport. I about lost my mind. So to me, I always carry it on me at all times. And now that we have crypto, the same with money. If you stole my crypto, I know I could just go get it back. I know my seed phrases. Do you?
Well, that's what Victor just said. Your brain is the best place.
Oh, well, is that what he said? I thought he was complimenting my mind. I'm sorry.
No.
I thought he was saying.
Yes, Grant. If your mind is a storage unit, you only have enough space for 12 or 24 words. That's it. That's what he was saying. It's full. It's full. It's tapped out.
I thought he was complimenting me. That's great.
2 seed phrases max.
But he's right. He's right though from that regard. So I carry that in my head. I'm not worried if my ledger breaks at all. Now you mentioned air gap. So when you connect your SIM card to your phone, you lose the air gap.
So and once again, I've never done this. This was explained to me by Bitcoin Maxi, who came on my podcast.
Yeah.
I think it's episode 20. If anyone wants to listen, this guy sold real estate He's selling rental properties to buy Bitcoin. He's not just like on Twitter talking shit. He's actually living, he's living in his truth. And the way he explained it to me is, you have your computer, you VPN, you do all the security, you log in to 2FA, you're going to transfer it on, and then you're going to get a dongle in your computer, put it onto the SD card. Then from the SD card, you take that and then you put it into, and I know this is a podcast. If you're listening to this, you can't see what I'm doing with my hands, but then you would connect that to your, to the cold card. It just goes right in. And then you enter some stuff. I'm not exactly sure. You probably YouTube's on this, and then it's on the cold card. And there it is. So
interesting.
The cold card was never connected to the internet, which I think is a great thing. And I think in the future, I mean, cold card's probably not public, but things like cold card, everyone will have that. Like in the 18th century, everyone had, and some people still do, had a safe in their house, right? Where they put all the family jewels and cash and stuff. That will be cold cards. People will want the air gap. You're going to want to get away from the internet, which is just going to be, and it already is, so convoluted with crap and spam. And like, you click this link, you're going to, they're going to download your computer and ransomware you to the, to Christmas. Anyways, cold card is fascinating. Like I said, it's only $90. I think John put the link, but it's coldcard.com. I've been meaning to get one. I need to get one and also walk in that. But what he does, the Bitcoin Maxi, Swan really sets it up so you dollar cost average. And I think that you would really like that, Grant. When you go on, it's like, how much do you want to buy? How often do you want to buy? Weekly, daily, monthly? And then it just sets it up for you. Instead of just like going into the exchange and it's like, you can buy any certain amount. It sets you up to set up reoccurring payments. Ken just dropped a YouTube link. I'm sure that's to how the cold card works, exactly how to use. So
I'll look into it. Yeah. When I hear it, so to me, a lot of the security features these days, whether it's carrying my ledger or putting it in a safe at home or putting into the security box, it sounds almost as silly as anonymity in crypto does to me today. By that, I mean, like when you are in a secure, again, with a web design company and having dealt with some secure FEMA related web stuff, when you have an air gapped computer, it's a computer that has never connected to the internet.
Yeah.
But also never gets a dongle that has ever connected to the internet. So if you're pointing at your phone when you're saying connect, if you've ever connected it to a phone, because of the digital world, you could get malware here that connects to your thing there. And then it basically programs itself and it's waiting for the next air gapped connection. And so so I think what I'm saying is there's degrees. And I would be, if I was being sold on security features, these days I'm like, how secure? I'm more interested in the will of the person to get it. If I were sitting on Michael Saylor's level of Bitcoin, we'd be having a different conversation. But I'm not even a whole coiner yet, But
I want to stop you there, and I know we're over time.
Okay.
I think the amount of Bitcoin someone has shouldn't be measured against someone else's amount of Bitcoin. I think it should be measured to someone's entire wealth. Michael Saylor bought most of that Bitcoin through MicroStrategy. I mean, I know he has his own personal Bitcoin, but the MicroStrategy Bitcoin was bought with debt. And that's like, wasn't even their money. They're like paying it down. You know what I mean? Like, but if you're a Bitcoin maxi and you take your entire paycheck and you just drop it into Swan every week, then you should treat it just as much as Michael Saylor treats his. Because the reality is, if Michael Saylor loses all his Bitcoin, he's not going to be in trouble. He's going to be fine. You lose all your Bitcoin and you've been putting in for 5 years, and that's the only thing you buy, you're in way more trouble. So I think it's a more of a.
You're right, and you don't know what the future holds.
Yeah,
like, have you seen this guy now who lost his hard drive in the dump?
I saw that. Oh, yeah.
Did you see how Jay? Did you see how he's getting robot dogs now to dig?
No, I didn't see that.
The Boston Dynamics dog?
Yeah.
He's basically, they've triangulated the 3-dimensional quadrant that it could be in.
Who's
and
funding
so, he has investors. I think
Satoshi.
Right now
back.
When you're I think right now the value is 170 mil.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah, and it was up to 600 when it was around 68, 69. I remember they interviewed him and he's just like, please don't talk to me.
Yeah. I'm this close to taking my own life. But then but he gets investors and like, what's 10 to 20% worth? Like, an investor comes along and says, okay, how much is this excavation project going to be?
it's also like there's a couple things there, right? Like, why would I want to help him if I have the money? A couple of reasons. One, if we ever find it, I'm going to be able to sell all the filming of this on Amazon for
That's right.
about $5 million. So they have
Okay,
rights.
cool.
Yeah.
And we find it, I'm going to go down in Bitcoin history being the guy who, basically funded the Nicolas Cage trying to get the Constitution back. So, I mean,
It's called dumpster diving.
Yeah.
What,
Dude,
Jay?
John's bouncing.
Oh,
But anyways,
thanks, Jay.
I think we are over time. So maybe
Let's do it.
We wrap it.
So first off, I'm grateful. I'm grateful we had a lot of good people on today. I'm grateful for our regulars. Thanks for being here, and thanks for making this conversation richer. Boom.
Make sure you follow us on LinkedIn, Twitter, and YouTube at Not Crypto Bros. We'll be here every Tuesday at 3 p.m. Eastern Standard Time.
Yeah, buddy.
And I actually like the way the doctor put it. Jokes, humor, and facts. And
I might change the thumbnail and I'll quote Dr. Randy.
Yeah, Dr. Rin. Exactly. In our first review, our 5-star review.
Jokes.
Thank you, Mark.
Yeah, man. Yeah, thank you, Mark. I appreciate you guys. And we'll catch you next week.
Peace.